Just wanted to take a minute today to acknowledge the season that we're in, which is Passover slash Easter. And tonight at sunset, Passover will officially begin. And it's a season and a time of remembering when God had asked people to sacrifice lambs in order for sins to be forgiven. And that comes from the book of Leviticus, because it says that life is in the blood. And so the only way to make atonement for life is through blood. And so imperfect offerings were brought to the temple, and they would just cover the sins until the next time, and cover and cover. And this went on for millennia. And for us as Christians, on Friday, we celebrate the ultimate atonement, the ultimate sacrifice. That is, when Jesus, the Lamb of God, was crucified for us, and his blood removed our sin, not just until the next time, but for all time. And it's a powerful reminder this Passover slash Easter season that we talk about forgiveness. And I've been thinking about that a lot myself in my own life. And sometimes I feel like I have a right to be upset with someone. They deserve for me to be angry with them because of what they did to me. And I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there who feel the same way. And I wanted to talk a little bit about forgiveness today. You know, I wrote about it. I have this new book called Jesusly, The Act of Being Like Jesus, and where I simply talk about how Jesus loved the people that he met, no matter where they came from or what their background was. And I talk about those who were outcasts and those who were overlooked. And there's one section called the outsiders. And when Jesus lived, the outsiders were Samaritans, but definitely the Romans were seen as the biggest outsiders. And they ruled over the Jewish people. They were vicious. They were malice. They were hard. And they're the ones who take Jesus to the cross. And in the book, I was talking about the last moments of Jesus' life as he hung there, thinking about everything that he had been through, the deprivation of sleep and of water, the whipping to the point of death with brutal instruments, and then the beam on his shoulders and all the splinters digging into the open wounds and exposed nerves, and the pain and the humiliation of carrying that beam to a tree where he was hoisted up and then affixed to it, nailed to it through his wrists and his ankles. And the whole time that they're punching him, they're beating him down, they're mocking him, they're scoffing at him, they're yelling and hurling insults at him. And he could have said, "Father, send down your angels and take vengeance, Lord. Pay them back for what they've done to your son." But instead he prays a very different prayer. He says, "Father, forgive them." And I want to talk about that because the Gospel of Luke tells us that there was a Roman centurion, at the base of the cross, kind of protecting to make sure no one came to take him down or give him water or show him any kind of mercy. And all these events begin to happen. There's an earthquake, there's a dimming of the sky, there's the tearing of the temple veil, and all these extraordinary things begin to happen. And this soldier is able to look up at Jesus and say, "Surely this was a righteous man." The others say, "Surely he was the Son of God." And he was only able to see who Jesus really was because of the forgiveness that Jesus had offered just a few moments ago. Not just for the Jewish people, not just for those who would become Christians across space and time, but even for those who oppose him, even for the very ones who nailed him to that tree. And so as we experience this Passover, this Easter season, I pray that forgiveness would be on all of our lips. I don't just say on your lips, because they need to be on mine as well. And you might say, "Oh, but the sting of the pain that person caused me is so fresh." Go back to the cross. Think of everything he had just been through, and he was still able to utter, "Father, forgive them." May we give others the gift of forgiveness this Passover and Easter season.